Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Welcome to the big news. The topic for today's discussion: why is Joshimath sinking? Let us try and understand what is this topic in greater detail. First, let's look into the location. Where is Joshimath located? It happens to be a hilly town in the state of Uttarakhand. As shown in the map, it is at this point that we have Joshimath. It is also a hilly town on the Rishikesh Badrinath National Highway. So this happens to be a tourist destination where if people have to go to a couple of other places, let's say Badrinath, Valley of Flowers or Hemkund Sahib, they use Joshinath as a place where they can stop over. So if people have to travel to multiple places, they first come to Joshimath, use it as a stopover and travel to multiple other tourist destinations. As we speak about Joshimath, it is strategically important as well as it is along the border area of India and China. So we also have army's most important cantonments in the Joshimath area of Uttarakhand. Why are we discussing about Joshimath? That is because the town of Joshimath in Uttarakhand is reportedly sinking, even leaving cracks on the houses. The Uttarakhand town of Joshimath, which is located along the foothills of the Himalayas, has been making headlines because the ground of the small region is reportedly sinking, with cracks visible on the walls of the houses and structures. This particular issue has not appeared all of a sudden. It has been there for the past 50 odd years and for decades as well. In fact, there was one of the report that came up in the year 1976. There was one of the commission that was also appointed to look into this particular issue, and what we also have is a commission report in the form of MC Mishra committee report. According to this report, it clearly went on to say that unregulated development in this particular area can have a long-term consequences, and it can also disturb the structures in this part of the region. So in fact, in 1976 they did know the consequences of unplanned urbanization in this particular area. According to all these studies that were made, they also had similar concerns as well. So we knew about the consequences 50 years before. The MC Mishra committee had also given reports about the same as well. Despite these reports, we did not learn, and today we are the ones who are facing the consequences. Now, the most important question is, why is Joshimath prone to landslides? Why are these issues occurring? What we have to look at is two important factors. One is the natural factor, the other happens to be the man-made factor. What are the natural factors? The soil here is weak, comprising mostly of debris brought about by the landslides. The area is also a highly seismic zone. Unplanned construction, population pressure, tourist infrastructure, obstruction to the natural flow of water, hydel power projects, developmental activities have all contributed to the present situation. So we have the natural ones, we also have the man-made causes. When we speak about the natural causes, what are those? One is its location. Where is it present? It is present along the foothills of the Himalayas. Earlier, this particular area was developed on the debris of the earthquake triggered landslides. So about century ago, there were landslides, debris had deposited in this particular place. So the city has been developed on an earthquake triggered landslide. That is the first natural issue. The second happens to be, when you look into this particular area, it is along the highly seismic zone. This particular area happens to be a seismic zone 5, which is prone to the earthquakes. Since it is already prone to the earthquakes, we have seen landslides in the past. The city is constructed on the landslide debris. That happens to be the second reason. And the third reason is because of the progressive weathering and percolation of water, which reduces the cohesive strength of the rocks over a period of time. So what we see is the descent of the Himalayan rivers, and we have seen earlier as well last year where there were flash floods of Rishi Ganga and Dauli Ganga. This has also worsened the situation as well. So it is because of the progressive weathering and percolation of water what we actually witness is the present situation. Then there are other man-made causes as well. What are these man-made causes? Random construction activities have been going on in this particular area for a very long period of time without thinking about the future consequences. In 1976, the Mishra Committee did speak about it, so we should have known that it will have a long-term consequences. Back then, we ignored. The government did not take any steps, and we continued with the urbanization plan, and these construction activities have become the major problem. So, unregulated construction has often come even in the way of the natural flow of the river waters, and they had to chart out new alternative routes as well. This has become another major problem. The second happens to be hotels and restaurants, as we discussed. This happens to be a stopover for multiple other tourist destinations in the state of Uttarakhand. So people come up to this particular place, they also move from this place to another place. So this happens to be a tourist area. Since this is a tourist area, hotels, restaurants have sprung up everywhere. There is population pressure as well. There is too much tourist crowd as well. This has become the major problem, and this is a man-made cause. And finally, there is lack of systemic drainage, and this has compounded the problem. So the main problem in Joshimath has been the fact that the town has come up on a relatively loose soil deposited by landslides triggered by the earthquakes. There are lots of loose soft rocks, moraine, as well as sediment. A lot of water has been percolating down into the porous crystalline rocks beneath the surface, softening them further. When water is not allowed to flow down in its natural course, it creates a lot of pressure either over the ground or underneath. In fact, the researchers from the Wadia Institute of Himalayan Geology did a survey in 2022 and found that these genesic rocks are extremely worn out, have a poor cohesive value, and have a propensity for high pore pressure when saturated with water, especially during the monsoon. This is not only in Joshimath, there are other places as well. There are several places in Uttarakhand where most of the towns, let's say for example, there are about 5,000 feet above the sea level, have similar characteristics as well. So Joshimath is one such example that we are seeing, but there are similar other towns and cities which could also have similar problems in the near future as well. So over the years, people have settled in all these areas because they were relatively flat due to the deposition of debris from the landslides. So what is the way forward? How should we overcome this particular issue? Further construction in this area should be made only after examining the stability of the site, and restrictions should be placed on the excavation on slopes. What do I mean by it? As of now, when you look at the state of Uttarakhand and this particular area, we have some of the hydro projects that are taking place as well. There are construction of the road activities that are taking place as well. This happened to be the major problem for the sinking. On one side, there is construction, road construction that is taking place, especially near the Helang bypass, and we also have the hydro project as well. So all these construction activities and hydroelectric projects should be stopped immediately. Residents should be asked to move out of this particular place. They should be sent to safer area as well, and only after we are able to understand how the geology is, only then we should be able to take steps to accommodate the people. No boulders should be removed either by digging or blasting, and no trees should be cut in the landslide zone. So in order to preserve the soil capacity in this particular area, what we have to do is replant the trees in the vulnerable area. Regarding the widening of the Chardam road, scientists want, except for a small stretch before Tushardara and Chungidar, where the road is being excavated through hard crystalline rocks, the majority of the 20-kilometer road stretch between Helong and Marwari passes through old landslide deposits. We must find ways to provide stability to areas prone to subsidence. So when we speak about such areas, we have to have an analysis. We have to know the environmental impact, if it is going to be of disastrous consequences or it's going to have repercussions in the near future. Such projects should also be stopped as well. So to save Joshimath from sinking, what we require is a coordinated approach where the government, the civil society organizations will have to seek the help of the military organization like the BRO, and ultimately this entire issue has to be brought to an end. As of now, the state government has taken some measures, but the root cause of it is ignoring the reports from the past. So going forward, if a report and a scientific report comes to the table of the state government, they have to take it far more seriously and implement the recommendations of this particular report. Is what is this topic all about? It is this that we have to understand with respect to this topic. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.